You heard Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. You heard her say in that news conference, we got to get behind these folks. And what she's saying is they are doing their job. The question now is, what are you going to do? I see your comments in the chat. I see this. Somebody says, Roland, this is SL Watson 35. Roland, there needs to be a leader to help us mobilize our Texas state. You're correct. We have to be a cohesive plan. You already have that. You already have groups who are doing that. But here's the question I will say to SL Watson 35. If you're in Texas, you can be a mobilizing leader. Let me unpack that. And I say this all the time. If you're going to organize Texas, you have to organize Texas counties. In order to organize Texas counties, you got to organize Texas cities. To organize Texas cities, you have to organize Texas neighborhoods. To organize Texas neighborhoods, you have to organize Texas streets. To organize Texas streets, Texas neighborhoods, you got to organize Texas blocks. Texas blocks, Texas streets. Texas streets, Texas houses. Texas houses means one person in the house. So what now then happens? So one person in a house says, we got to organize and mobilize here in Texas. So the person in the house says, I got to organize my neighbors. The neighbors say, we got to organize our street. The street folks say, we got to organize our block. The block people say, we got to organize our neighborhood. All of a sudden, when neighborhoods mobilize, you now organize and mobilize the city. When the cities mobilize, you begin to organize and mobilize the county. When the county and the cities are mobilized, you now begin to organize and mobilize the state. So where do you start? I keep this very basic and I keep it very clear and very simple. And that is this. Go look at the existing data. You can pull up the data by going to the State Board of Elections, the County Board of Elections, and you can say, how did my precinct vote? Folks, elections are based upon precincts. There are X number of precincts in a state, in a county, in a city. You pull the data and you say, oh, my precinct, which could be a collection of neighborhoods, my precinct has 700 registered voters. That doesn't mean eligible voters to be registered. But let's just say it has 700 registered voters. Well, those 700 of the 700 registered voters in the last congressional campaign, in my precinct, 300 voted. That means it's right there in the data. 400 registered voters in that precinct did not vote in the last congressional, presidential, state, county commissioner, city, school board, DA, whatever election. And so if you're watching us right now or listening, stop trying to worry about a big leader to organize a state. Stop trying to worry about, man, who can do the county? Who can do the city? Who can do the neighborhood? You watching right now should first start with, what's in my concentric circle? Let me first start with my family. Let me first start with in my household. That's my family. Let me then start with my neighbor on the left, neighbor on the right, across the street. You begin to build there. This is how it is done. The reason, and let me be real clear, Republicans, whenever you hear Republicans complain about what's happening in Texas, I'm trying not to cuss because I keep running to people who kept telling me, come on, Roland, you got to stop cussing. But I really want to tell them to F off right now because Republicans have controlled Texas for the last 30 years. Since George W. Bush was elected to a second term, Republicans hold every statewide office in Texas. All of them. They have controlled the House and they control the Senate. It's a fact. So when they complain about what's happening, you can't blame Democrats. They couldn't blame Biden. They control the state. The Texas power grid is trash. You know why? Because Republicans unplugged from the national power grid and said, we're going to create our own. That's why you have folks who died when it got cold all across Texas. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Greg Abbott spent $3 billion building bullshit along the border. Even the Republicans were like, this shit ain't working. So they quietly stopped spending. He wasted $3 billion. The problem we have in America is that there are a lot of people who complain, who don't vote. The opposition, they vote. And when you complain and say, well, I'm not voting unless I get tangibles. Fool, you can't get any tangibles unless you vote. It doesn't work the other way around. Now, what it means is when the election is over, then you are putting pressure on that person. I need you to deliver. But then what happens when your person doesn't win? You're still a constituent, and you can make demands of them. This moment that we are looking at right now is a challenge to the people, the silent majority in Texas who don't vote. I'm going to give you the stat again, and you heard me say it several times. I'm still registered to vote in Texas. So is my brother, so is my two sisters, so my parents, so my numerous, all of my nieces, nephews, all 13 of them, my cousins, my aunts and uncles. I've got 400 or 500 relatives in Texas. Folks, they all registered. But the problem is 61% of Texas is Black, Latino, Asian American, Native American. Yet 61% of the people that vote in Texas are white. Yes, there's voter suppression. Yes, there's gerrymandering. But in the history of Black people, we've had to hop, jump, hurdle, go under, go over every obstacle presented. So if you don't have an ID, we should be working with folks to help get them an ID. We should be re-registering every single year. Oh, they're removing folks like crazy in Florida. Fine. Register to vote every single year. Just fill the card out, turn it in. Y'all ain't screwing me over. The only way we change this by taking our country back and taking our state back is if we use our power at the ballot box. But it cannot happen if we are not organized and mobilized. This shirt I'm wearing, Color of Change, gave me this shirt. It says, voting while Black. If you are complaining while Black and you're not registered, with all due respect, shut the fuck up.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.